today we're starting in the town of Wisdom, Kentucky. Not actually a town, unincorporated community. Has an interesting history though. So originally in the 1840s, there was a post office set up here, and it was called Randolph. And after 20 years or so, I guess it wasn't too successful. There's a business or maybe two here, and the people who started that community moved the post office 2 miles south of here and remained calling it Randolph. Actually went down there. There's a store there, a small store. There's a couple churches and a large cemetery. So then a couple decades later, someone else started a post office here, and a store and a community sprang up in the 1890s, and they called it Wisdom after the local superintendent of the county schools. And then it's been a community ever since. A couple members of the country band, the Kentucky Headhunters, is from Wisdom. And in fact, the road right here, 640, which crosses 68, is called the Kentucky Headhunters Highway. Today, Wisdom is a pretty small community. Besides this building here, there are some churches in the area. There's a lot of traffic through here, but certainly the churches seem to be the main thing in the community. I always like towns with funny names, and Knoblick, certainly, if you hear that, it makes you want to probably chuckle. It's named because a lick is actually a stream, kind of like a small stream. And so it's a fairly common thing, a common name in this part of the country. And Knob is a hill, so there was a stream at the bottom of a hill. And so that's how it got its name. So it was originally called Knoblick, and then in the 40s or 1850s, and then it was changed to Antioch, and I'm standing in front of the Antioch church, and so it was named that after the church. And then post office closed, and then it reopened, and they named it Knoblick again, and that's kind of stuck. And there's not much left. There's a couple churches. There is a little gas station convenience store and maybe one other store, and some abandoned houses I'm looking at right here. I'm seeing quite a few of them. So certainly quiet part of Kentucky, and even though it has kind of a funny name, still a pretty cool place to visit. Just down the road from Knoblick is a community that sprung up kind of by accident. There was a guy in the 1840s who was drilling for salt salt water, and discovered sulfur here, and amongst other things. And when that happened, it became more of a valuable place, and he started a hotel, and then a village grew up, and then by the 1880s there were like 100 people that lived here, and now it's actually a historic district. There's some cool buildings. You can definitely smell the sulfur as you walk around. But yeah, kind of an interesting little place and very, very beautiful area. Well, if you ever wanted to know what it was like to be alone in Alone, well, this is it. Finishing up the day with another unusual name for a town. It's Alone, Kentucky. And it actually was a small town, I guess, at some point in 1880, had a post office. I don't know why it's called Alone, but I'm assuming it's because maybe the people who lived here wanted to be alone from everyone else. But it had a post office for a period of time. Obviously, there's nothing here anymore except the cemetery, which is actually cool to see that there is still something here. From 1914 to 1917, Alone had a traveling library, which, you know, I'm assuming the library was headquartered here maybe and traveled around. But there was a traveling library. So I don't know much else about Alone. Maybe if anyone else does, they can comment here and let me know. What is left here is a cemetery, and it is a mixture of old headstones that you can tell from the 1800s, from the early days, some newer headstones, so probably from people that live somewhere in this area, and then some ones that are just kind of rocks sticking in the ground. So it's interesting that a town would be named Alone. Might be an anticlimactic way to wrap up the Metcalfe County ghost towns, but thought it was interesting dot on the map, and whenever there's an unusual named place on a map, I got to go check it out. I always like towns that have... That was loud. Hear that? Somebody must have got their catalytic converter.